We have now reached the core of hidden history. Not Sarajevo, not the assassination, not the spark. Docherty and MacGregor insist that what we call the origins of World War I have been buried under a century of official narrative. This is the book's thesis, that Britain's road into war was not an accident, but the product of an imperial governing network, operating through institutions, continuity, and private power. Let's take a look at these institutions and networks, shall we? The story begins with Cecil Rhodes. Rhodes was not only a businessman, he was also a colonizer. He was a man with an explicit imperial vision, that Britain must remain the supreme global power, and that the Anglo world must shape the future order. Docherty and MacGregor argue that Rhodes wanted something astonishing, a secret imperial society, Jesuit-like in discipline, dedicated to preserving British supremacy by any means necessary. And this was not abstract. Rhodes organized it in concentric circles, an inner core called the Society of the Elect, and an outer ring called the Association of Helpers. Many in the outer circle did not even know what they served. Continuity required secrecy. Empire required permanence. Rhodes dies, but the project does not. It is inherited. In fact, one of Rhodes' most lasting institutional legacies still exists, the Rhodes Scholarships. They became one of the most prestigious elite fellowships in the English-speaking world, bringing promising young leaders to Oxford. Figures as mainstream as Bill Clinton, Susan Rice, and Pete Buttigieg passed through that system. Whatever one makes of Docherty and MacGregor's stronger claims, the point here is not fantasy. It is continuity, elite formation, networking, inheritance, empire reproduced through institutions. After Rhodes, the organizing center becomes Alfred Milner. Milner was not marginal. He was empire. High Commissioner in South Africa, administrator of conquest, strategist of imperial consolidation. Docherty and MacGregor present Milner as the leader, the central coordinator, the man whose authority extended beyond formal government. They write that Milner held sway so completely that neither prime minister nor king denied him. This is not parliamentary democracy. It is imperial governance. Milner's work in South Africa was not only territorial, it was institutional, because he recruited a generation. Milner's kindergarten, elite reproduction. Milner gathered around himself a band of young Oxford men, who became known as Milner's kindergarten. These were not random administrators, they were selected, educated, connected, loyal. Docherty and MacGregor described them as young, educated men with a deep sense of duty and loyalty to the empire, capable of populating the next generation of the secret society. This is continuity, not conspiracy in robes, but recruitment, inheritance, institutional reproduction. They show how these men, appointed as minor colonial officials, would go on to dominate British imperial and foreign affairs for decades. This is what an imperial governing class looks like. Not one mastermind, but a pipeline. Out of Milner's network emerges one of the book's most concrete institutions, the Round Table movement. The Round Table was not merely intellectual discussion, it was strategic coordination. The group promoted its aims anonymously. In its journal, The Round Table, a quarterly review of the politics of the British Empire. In the first article in the first issue, November 1910, was titled Anglo-German Rivalry. The authors say it was deliberately provocative. This is crucial. Germany is already framed as the enemy, before 1914, before Sarajevo, before crisis. And here Quigley becomes the key witness. He confirmed the original inspiration was to be found in anti-German feeling. Quigley adds that Imperial Federation was, at least in part, a mask. The Round Table was printed without names, no contributors, no editor, only an anonymous address in Piccadilly. Why? Because influence without responsibility is safer. The journal sought not mass readership, but elite opinion, upstream power. Docherty and MacGregor call it an anti-German propaganda vehicle, and an advocate of imperial unity. This is what they meant by the secret elite, not a hidden council issuing commands, but institutions shaping strategic atmosphere. From quiet conspiracy to crusade, the authors make their trajectory explicit. They argue that once the blueprint existed, once supporters were in place, the quiet conspiracy could give way to a great crusade. Milner, they insist, understood how to manipulate newspapers, influence editorials, prepare opinion. The war, in this telling, is not born in July. July is activation. The groundwork is earlier, institutional, ideological, imperial. So what is hidden history ultimately arguing? That World War I did not emerge from a Balkan accident. It emerged from an imperial strategic world whose continuity ran through Rhodes, through the Rothschilds, through Milner, through Oxford recruitment, through Round Table propaganda, through anti-German framing, through policy shaped before publicity. Not inevitability, not weather. Empire as structure, empire as network, empire as inheritance. And when such a governing world decides that a rival's rise is intolerable, peace becomes a postponement. That is the book's claim. This is the secret origins. Thank you for watching. This concludes Hidden History. In the next series, we move forward from the origins of war into the narratives that followed. Subscribe to continue the journey.